Hey, welcome back to Sports Around the 313 with Triple G. You know, it's hard to believe that summer's already over, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for football, basketball, and hockey. And baseball, forget it. Listen, I'm going to jump right in here and talk about the fact that one, the Pistons are going to be starting training camp pretty soon, probably in the next week or two. Red Wings as well be starting training camp, so we got a big fall schedule coming up. And the Detroit Lions, of course, their first game is this Sunday, and they play the Arizona Cardinals in Detroit. They finally got a home game to open the season in Detroit, which normally for I don't know how many years they've been on the road for their first game or second game, first and second game. So hopefully, being at home, playing Arizona, they'll be able to get a win out of this baby, and we'll see what happens. You know, in football, we're talking about the Lions. Everybody slams them again and tells them, oh, well, they're going to be 7-9, 6-6, 5-11. You know, I don't know where some of these writers and these pundits come from and where they get their information from. First of all, the Detroit Lions are an improved team over last year in all areas. Yeah, they've had a couple of injuries, but so have all the other NFL teams in training camp. A lot of teams have lost players for the whole season, as well as maybe the Lions have lost one or two, and then Taylor Decker maybe being out, the offensive tackle, for maybe 6 games to, I don't know, maybe 6 months. But the Lions are going to do all right. They just signed Matt Stafford to a long-term contract, so he's locked up. His career will be here and probably end here. And I like Matt Stafford. I think he improves every year, and I think he's going to have a good year this year. They got their running back core healthy. Hopefully they'll stay healthy all year. Let's see what happens with that. I think, in my last episode, my dream record for the Lions this year, and I know I shared it with you guys, and I also said that maybe I was just dreaming about that one as well. I figured they might go 14-2, but then I pulled back a little bit, and I realistically said maybe 10-6, 11-5. So I'm going to stick with the 10-6 and 11-5. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year, and I hope they can get through the first round and make it into the second round, which they haven't done in God knows how long. Okay, so let's give it to the Lions. Go Lions, this Sunday, Arizona, at home, downtown Detroit. Let's give it to them, and I hope the hell they kick ass. And that new linebacker that they drafted out of Florida, I hope he's on a tear. Now let's jump back to college. I want to congratulate University of Michigan football and also Michigan State football. Michigan State football had a tough year last year. They came back in their opening game this year, and they won it pretty sizably. Michigan, they played Florida. They played a hell of a good team. Florida was ranked 17th. Michigan was ranked 11th at the time. Michigan went down there, and let me tell you, if it wasn't for the Michigan quarterback, despite throwing 2 interceptions that went for touchdowns, they would have actually beaten Florida 33-3. I mean, their defense was like unbelievable. I've never seen defense like this, swarming, attacking, aggressive, and I hope they can keep this up for the entire college football season when they meet up with the likes of Wisconsin and Penn State and particularly Ohio State. So this weekend, they both play again, so congratulations to those 2 programs. I'm excited about them. Let's see what happens with that. I want to talk a little bit about, I'm going to talk a little bit about baseball, but a little further into it. The fans have had to endure, some pretty good seasons over the years, but recently the Tigers have just flopped. They've got a lot of players that are making a lot of money that aren't playing worth a damn. And then you have, Al Avila, who's the general manager, and he says, well, I'm going to start dumping salaries and trading, players that are like the name of the Tigers. I mean, you take Justin Verlander. He was just traded to Houston. He's the face of the Detroit Tigers, okay? Then they trade Justin Upton that morning before they traded Verlander. They've taken J.D. Martinez and traded him. Al Avila traded his own son, and then one of our top relief pitchers. I mean, they've taken this whole team and just tore it apart. Were they that bad? Well, in July they were at 500. Now they're like 21 or 22 games below 500. But my thing is, the owner, Mike Ilitch obviously was the owner, and he passed in February, and his son Chris has taken over. But there was no mandate from the Ilitch family to dump salaries. There was no mandate from them to say, we want to save money, start getting rid of these big salaries. They never told Al Avila, the general manager, to do this. He did this on his own. So he went ahead and just dumped key players that, if you look at what these players are doing for other teams, and they were doing it pretty much for here. J.D. Martinez is with Arizona. He just hit 4 home runs in 1 game the other night. Justin Verlander won his first game. Cameron Maybin. Now, if you guys go back 3 or 4 episodes when the beginning of baseball season started, the Tigers got rid of Cameron Maybin to the Angels. And I criticized Al Avila for getting rid of him. He was like a spark plug for that team. Not only could he steal bases, but he could get on. Sure, he had some health problems here or there, but he was a good player, and they started with him and got rid of him. Now he's with Houston, and his teammate is Justin Verlander, so the Houston Astros have 2 ex-Tigers that actually won their game for him in Seattle the other night. Maybin, I think, hit a home run, and Verlander pitched 6 or 7 strong innings and got the win. So you've got ex-Tigers sprinkled throughout the league, whether it's National League or American League, that are doing so well for their other teams. You mean to tell me you couldn't have kept those players here? And listen, it started with Dave Dombrowski, and I say Dombrowski. When he was here, he started the whole goddamn thing trying to get rid of players. He got rid of all our Cy Young, Scherzer. They didn't sign him to a contract. You know, I look back now, they should have signed him. Okay, they could have kept David Price. No, they got rid of him. They had another ball player of ours, Rick Porcello. He was a homegrown guy. Brought him up in the minor leagues, just like Verlander, and he won the Cy Young Award last year. Just beat out Verlander. So there's 4 Cy Young winners that could have been on the same pitching staff here in Detroit if they had just had a little more patience and kept the damn team together, and they would have had a good ball club. Instead, now, what are we going to do? The fans have to endure suffering through a rebuilding program where we have nobody here. Well, they got Ian Kinsler, and he'll probably be gone by next year. Miguel Cabrera, I don't know what the hell happened to him this year. He just fell apart. He did not have a good year when we needed him the most, and he's still got like 3 or 4 years on a contract to make another $100 million. So what's going to happen with that? So baseball, yeah, it's over for the Detroit Tigers. It's over for the Detroit fans. My God, I mean, how long do we have to endure another rebuilding program? I mean, they've lost so many games this year. They're tied with a record of 2003 when they lost this many games. And I mean, honest to God, really, do we have to put up with this? Is Al Avila doing a good job as general manager? I mean, Dave Dombrowski, he did good in the beginning, but then he kind of got rid of some key players as well. I think they need a change. I think they need to put in a new general manager. And the coach, you know, I don't know. It's up in the air with him. You know, I like him on some days, and then some days I'm like, what kind of decisions does he make here? But, you know, all in all, they need to sit down with Chris Ilitch and figure out what the hell's going on, because the fans do not have to sit here and endure going to games where they're getting their ass kicked 13-2 by Kansas City last night. And every time you turn around, it's 3 or 4 games in a row where they scored maybe 1 run, and these other teams are getting 10, 11, 12 runs. And if you look at the roster of the Detroit Tigers right now, it looks like the Toledo Mudhens. It looks like their AAA affiliate. I don't know who the hell these guys are. These are Major League Baseball players, and they're playing against teams that are kicking their ass every single night. The pitchers that they're bringing in, I don't even know how to pronounce some of their names. They got to do something, because this is bullshit. Okay, the fans are suffering. We're all suffering, and it's not right. All right, just to move on a little bit here, I want to jump back to the Detroit Lions and talk about the fact that Calvin Johnson, this is something I wanted to talk about last episode, and I didn't get around to it, but Calvin Johnson was complaining over the last few months that he had a problem because he had to give some of his signing bonus back, and he didn't want to have anything to do with the Lions anymore. They invited him to camp, yet he went to other camps throughout training camp. And, you know, I look at Calvin Johnson, I think, you know, he's a great player. I'm not taking that away from him, but Jesus Christ, I mean, he made over $100 million in his career here, which was only like 9 years long, okay? And he's complaining that he had to give back a little bit of his signing bonus. Dude, you made $100 million, okay? Put up or shut up. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, people out here, these blue-collar workers busting their ass every day to make a living, and you're out there complaining because you had to give back $1.5 million or $2 million when here you made $100 million. The Lions paid you every freaking year. You never complained. You took the paycheck. Then when you get done with the Lions, you complain, saying it was horrible playing for them. They were a lousy organization. You know what, Calvin Johnson? Walk the road. Get the hell out of here. You know, out of my mind, out of the Lions fans' mind. It's a damn shame that you have to treat Detroit like you're treating us. So you go to hell, buddy. All right, that's it for tonight. You know, I want to tell you that I'm looking forward to this fall. We're going to have all kinds of football. Lions, I think, are going to do well. They got 2 Monday night games, I believe. They have a Sunday night game, and of course, their Thanksgiving Day game, I think, is against the Minnesota Vikings. I think if the Lions, and I say this every year about all my sports teams, if the Lions can stay healthy, okay, if they can stay healthy, of course, everybody says that about their own team as well. But if they can stay healthy, I see them doing good things, and I want them to knock the Packers off. I'm getting sick and tired of the Packers, and every year it's the Packers this and the Packers that. You know, how about it's the Lions this and the Lions that, okay? So let's give the Lions a go-to. They're going to do it. They're going to make the playoffs. And hopefully the Red Wings will be back in the playoffs, and the Pistons will make the playoffs as well. Let's have a good fall-winter season in sports in Detroit. I'm all done here, and I get the hell out of here. You gotta lose your mind, Detroit, Rock City.